distraction is really, in the context of what we're going to be talking about, distraction is really avoidance.
But it's a trick because he's a dopamine hit.
Yeah.
Sometimes that distraction, and you've just posted a new reel on Instagram. Welcome to the Action Playbook. I'm Jason Fox.
And I'm Coach Robin.
And we're helping leaders take action in life and business. You look nervous.
Sorry, I got distracted there.
Distracted. Sorry. There's just something come up on my phone. Can you hold there a second?
Yeah. I'll wait.
Welcome to episode 14. We're going to talk about distraction.
Distraction indeed.
And man, those phones are a distraction. I was actually just doing the last podcast with you, and I've got my smartwatch on.
Yeah.
And as we were talking, it's going bzz, bzz. I look down, I'm like, oh no, I've got to deal with that. Oh, I should be dealing with that, not in the middle of this podcast.
I actually noticed you were looking at your watch.
Imagine how much more productive or engaged I would have been if I wasn't wearing a smartwatch.
How smart is your smartwatch?
Smart, distracting me, that's for sure.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm wearing it is to ensure I get my steps and my calorie burn in each day, and so I can be a healthy legend. Debatable. But yeah, here I am in the middle of something else going, ooh, fuck, ooh. My phone's on silent, but this still knows I'm here.
So what you're really saying, Jason, is that you have a good habit in terms of exercising and burning calories that was interrupted by a bad habit.
Yeah, or just a function on the phone that could be turned off or the watch. So I don't send notifications to you regarding that and use it for the intention that you're wearing it for. Because I know we're all guilty of sitting there in a meeting, and if you're wearing a smartwatch and goes bzz, bzz, oh shit, got to get that bread on the way home, or the wife, or like some reminder comes up and all of a sudden someone's telling you something way more important, but because it buzzed on your wrist, you went, oh.
I remember when I got my first smartwatch, and it would do the same thing, and I'd be in a meeting, and then my clients, this is so bad, my client would be like, look, do you have to be somewhere? Do we need to wrap this up? I'm like, no, sorry, I just got a message on my watch.
Yeah, and I'm blushing. It's a cute one.
You really are important to me.
Yeah. So distraction. It didn't mean to go into this. We just hit record and start talking, and that's a really great example of what distraction is, right?
Of distraction. So for me, I think distraction is really, in the context of what we're going to be talking about, distraction is really avoidance. It's not necessarily that you get sidetracked. It's that you're actually moving away from doing something you should be doing to go and do something that you like to do.
But it's a trick because he's a dopamine hit.
Yeah.
Sometimes that distraction, and you've just posted a new reel on Instagram, and you see a message come up on it, you're like, oh my God, is it going well? And you want that little dopamine hit of, oh, that's getting received well. Look how many people have liked that image or something, versus the task that you're trying to work on for your customers that may actually pay the bills. That little instant dopamine hit gets you.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, that is that fun aspect again. You know, it's when we got things that we know should be done, and it's important, so it ticks two boxes, needs to be done, there's an urgency to it, it's important enough, it needs to be done, but it's not something that we have a lot of fun associated with. And then there's something else that needs to be done, not as urgent, not as important, but a hell of a lot nicer. Guess which one of the two items off your to-do list you're going to pick, right?
Yeah, the fun one every time.
Yeah, every time. You get that dopamine hit, and that is a false sense of security, though, because there's something else that happens. In the back of your mind, that other thing that needs to be done that's urgent doesn't go away. It sits there and it just niggles you, and it creates sort of this negative, toxic mindset that you get into because you feel guilty you're not doing it. You should be doing it.
You'd be anxious, wouldn't you? Be an anxiety thing. We're probably creating anxiety with little distractions throughout the day that piles and piles and piles. At the end of the day, you're like, oh my God, I got all this stuff to do, but there it is again.
Yeah, I mean, social media is a huge one. You know, a lot of people get distracted by spending time on social media, right?
Yes.
And that creates a habit. So what we see often is that, you know, a new habit is formed. So we have a habit of doing something productive, but then we also create a new habit of something unproductive, and that now becomes a new trigger to doing the stuff that we should not be doing.
Yeah, we just our attention spans are so short now that we actually can't be alone in our own thoughts because boredom sets in. Like, oh, I've just been sitting here for 1 minute, I'm not doing anything. Scroll, like, comment, swipe, send that to a friend. Like, it does take over.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some ways to get around this, shall we?
Well, 100%. So just to summarize that, distraction is avoidance of something that we don't want to do, or it's a habit that we have formed, a good habit or bad habit. In this particular case, let's just say it's an unproductive habit. It takes us away from the task that we should be doing, right? So let's tackle those two separately.
Okay.
So the first one is avoidance, right? So we have to get onto the things that we need to do.
Correct.
We can't only do things that we love to do or that's fun for us, especially in business. You know, and if it's a smaller business, the business owner tends to have quite a few responsibilities, and not all of those are going to be fun responsibilities, right?
Tell me about it. Got a few of those at the moment.
Yeah.
If only I had a guy.
So I think to avoid, and procrastination comes into this, right? Procrastination forms part of it. That avoidance is often spoken of as procrastinating. And the best way to avoid procrastinating is to actually create a something called a default diary. And a default diary is really simple. You take your most important tasks that you need to do, and you create a time space in your diary for that. So let's use an example. Let's say marketing, right? Marketing is fun for a lot of people, but it's not necessarily what you enjoy doing. So you avoid it. Let's say you got to do telemarketing. Not a lot of people do enjoy telemarketing, right?
Nothing to enjoy about that one.
Yeah, and it's very easy to avoid. There's 1,000 other things that at that particular moment seems more important than picking up the phone and doing cold calling. So what do? We take let's just say an hour slot on a Monday or Tuesday, and we put it into our diary. We say, right, that is the time that we do that. Mm-hmm. And we do that for all of our tasks, right? And invariably, you'll end up with like free time. When we start organizing time, it actually shows how interruptions and not being organized with time actually burns time, wastes time.
Yeah. If you write down everything you're doing on that day, you go, oh, there's a bad habit. It's the same when you're eating. Yeah. I'm going to do a food journal. 1 cream donut, 3 cream donuts in one day. I probably didn't need that now, did I? So if you're doing the same with your time, 45 minutes on Instagram, hour 15 on TikTok. Oh shit, no wonder I'm so busy at work. Of 2 hours of my day, I was unproductive. Yeah.
So the trick with the default diary though, so obviously it creates focus. Like there is my time frame that I have for doing the marketing, for doing the invoicing, quoting, and so it brings focus, uninterruptible focus. You know, that default diary that you now create, when you put all your most important tasks into your diary to make sure that those happen, you share it with your team and let them know, this is my time where I will be doing invoicing. Don't interrupt. Why is that important? Why is that interruptions, the not interrupting time important?
For that specific task, it'd be really important to get invoices out so you can get paid, so that you can pay all your staff. That could be useful.
And
so you can actually focus down on that one thing and actually get it done quicker.
Exactly.
Because every time you get distracted by it takes, is it 20 minutes, I believe, to actually...
Study showed 20 minutes to refocus again, right?
That's right. So if you get 2 or 3 in an hour of work, you've lost an hour of what could have been super productive work.
So to avoid that distraction and interruption time and to remain focused, make sure that that time is dedicated to it and the team knows that, that you're not making yourself available to everyone for interruption.
I was saying that to our MD of Quantum Asset yesterday. I was like, why don't you have a light? I'd have a light that says red, no, you can't come in here, do not distract. And the other directors or the C-suite type people are like, oh no, we'll just knock on the window. I'd be like, you free? You got 5 minutes? And I'm like, I can see why he looks so exhausted. You're all draining him down. So he's got to put some boundaries up there. If you're listening, team, let the man think.
We had an open office environment. We in our wisdom, we wanted to be visible and available to everyone, but it became too much. It was hard to focus. So we actually introduced a card system. And it was a red card and a green card, and then you just put whatever color card you need to on your desk. And if it was a red card, it means I need to focus on what I'm doing at the moment. Please don't interrupt me. If it was green, it'd be like, hey, I'm open to chat.
Yeah,
come along. Let's have that conversation about which is the best coffee in the canteen.
Yeah, and it could be a light or something like that. We're recording a podcast right now. If we had it on air on the door, and someone walked up and goes, dung, 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 hey, have you got 5 minutes in the middle of recording? They're probably not going to be received that well.
Exactly.
So why should it be any different with the work that you're doing at your desk? If you're flat out doing something, you should be allowed to do it. And people used to say, oh, if I've got my headphones on, don't distract me. It means I'm concentrating on something. But people then go, well, I don't know, you could just be listening to a podcast or to your favourite song. Right? So that's not a clear indication, but maybe if there's a light metric or something, that is a clear indication of I'm working on this. But that's all good and well. That's stopping other people from distracting you, but people still need to be not distracted themselves by their own phone or their watch. So there's the word distraction has one of our favorite words in it. What's that word?
Does it include action?
It does say action. I almost said it. I was like, ah! So yeah, distraction includes the word action. Pretty keen on that word action around here at the Action Playbook or Action Membership. We're our business action curve. If you really want to get confused, it confuses me too. And a lot of people think the opposite to distraction is focus. And whilst focus is a great word, and we've already done a podcast on it, the actual difference to distraction is traction, which also has the word
action.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. So how can we gain traction throughout the day and some of these tasks when we're saying that we want to spend that half an hour or an hour on that focus task? Your phone is going to go bzz, 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 bzz. But how about this is really important. We just put the phone on silent and know that in 40 minutes time, you booked out that calendar space that I'm going to do all this work. And at 40 minutes, I've got 10 minutes to clear those messages, return any phone calls and stuff before I go into the next focus period of work. That would work, wouldn't it?
It's a great call, actually. I would take it a step further and actually even include a time in your default diary for distraction. Actually put it in there.
Yeah, it's a reward for your last 50 minutes of work. You get 10 minutes at the end of every hour, but you'll get more done in that 50 minutes than you would have done of a full hour of work with distraction.
Exactly. Whether it's that game, the games are great at making you feel like you're missing out. That there's
Candy Crush. Oh, you got 5 more lives.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And so, by creating that time in your default diary, it's something really important happens. you take it from uncontrolled to controlled, right? Where your distractions control you. When you say, okay, I acknowledge that distraction exists in my life, and you make that time available for distraction, you're moving it into a controlled distraction.
Sure.
And the mindset change when that happens is quite significant, because, we have this, we feel guilty, we're not getting on with what we're supposed to, the guilt, the avoidance is that stuff, that you should be doing. But if you actually give yourself permission, then you know that that's coming, and you can still stay focused, and you can get the stuff done that you need to, and your mind doesn't go into guilt mode. And that, from a productivity point of view, that's going to have a massive impact. So that's one cool tip there.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm a huge believer of, and you've probably done it yourself, I'll come into work on a Saturday, or I'll start at 6 o'clock, and you start and you get 3 hours of really, say, start at 6, and by 8 o'clock, your phone hasn't rung. No one's emailed you because no one's actually got to work. You're like, man, I just got my entire day's worth of work done. And then you've got this whole day in front of you for meetings or taking some calls or doing a couple of things. But the pressure's just gone, because what you normally drag over a day of distractions, you can actually knock out in 2 to 3 hours a lot of the time. And that in itself shows you how important that focus workspace is, making that time. You can do it 100%. I believe in you guys. You can do this during the working day. Some people that are in Action membership, I'm speaking to you. It can happen.
Yeah.
Put your phone on silent. Tell your team, I'm not contactable till 10 o'clock, and just get the shit done. And then I've got all day for you guys. But spend that 2-3 hours, whatever it might take. You give your business 3 hours of purposeful work every single day, and then break into meetings, any questions I've got, dealing with customer issues. I reckon you're probably doing more in that 3 hours than you have been in your 9, 10, 11 that you're working with distraction.
Yeah. Yeah, we've created this distraction habit in our life because instant gratification is something that, we're all expecting. But instant gratification, while on the surface seems like a really great thing, I'll get back to them as fast as possible. In reality, it's not sustainable. And so, the habit of, every time my phone beeps, I have to reply to that message, or my laptop lets me know a new email's come in, I have to go and have a look at it. Those are bad distraction habits. So habits is another way of dealing with that and, getting traction rather than distraction. And so we create good habits. So self-discipline is part of that. And one of the keys, and James Clear speaks about this in Atomic Habits, the book Atomic Habits as well, is to create triggers.
Sure.
Create triggers for habits. One of the key elements of creating a habit, right, is there was a story of a lady who struggled to get to gym. Yeah. And the gym wasn't far from her house. And the way she got herself to gym every morning was she would book a taxi to pick her up in the morning.
Yeah.
And, so that was a trigger that she had created, a positive trigger that she was like, the taxi's on its way. I've got to get up and get ready. I'm going to gym.
Which is the same as having a gym partner, and you're like, well, I can't let him down. He'll be there. He's waiting for me. He said he was going to bench press 100 kgs today. He could kill himself if I'm not there to protect him.
Yeah.
But yeah, 100%. Just little things like that will get you there.
We create those triggers. And again, the default diary could be part of that trigger. It could be an alert that you set up on your phone that, lets you know you've now gone into marketing time. Get out of email time and get into marketing time, or quote follow-up time, or whatever those key things are that you need. And you just create that habit until eventually you will do those things automatically. It's like when you learn to drive a car, right? When you first learn to drive a car, it takes a lot of concentration, a lot of attention. You've got to think about it. But then, as you drive more and more, Don't even go there, Jason. Don't go there.
I'll bite my lip.
As you as you become comfortable driving the car, it becomes automatic for you. You don't think about driving a car now. You don't think about what your foot's doing or how much pressure to put. It's just
you become one with the machine.
One with the machine. Yeah. And exactly the same can happen in your daily tasks and those routine operations that needs to happen that we avoid or procrastinate on.
Yeah.
And so, creating those habits, creating those triggers, making sure that, we stick to what we're supposed to be doing at this point. That's really key.
Do you think there's business owners out there that would like to work less hours? Have you ever heard of anyone that maybe wouldn't like to work as long?
I don't know a lot who say I would like to work more hours.
Imagine if they showed up, they worked with intention and focus, they got more done, so it gave them more flexibility in the time they spent in the office. That would be a pretty good reward, wouldn't it? Would I rather spend an hour scrolling through phones or distraction or having that 45-minute smoko with my team, or would I rather get my shit done and be out of there by 3 o'clock so I can go to my kids' rugby training or go and play golf? Yeah, Jason, let's go and play golf. What's the time?
Distraction and procrastination.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just to wrap it all up, really, it's let's get away from the distractions and turn those into tractions, right? And that way we get control. We take control over what otherwise would be uncontrollable and makes us feel guilty. Let's take it in control. The more organized we are with our time, even if we add in thinking time, distraction time, game time, social media time, whatever that is, whatever that looks like, we still gain the control. It's on our terms, not on my habits' terms, if that makes any sense, my bad habits' terms. Yeah. It's on our terms, and that creates a very different mindset. So, get in there. It is self-discipline, but get in there, create a default diary of the things that needs to happen, and stick to that. Make that your habit. And if you can create a trigger to do that, you got a better chance of succeeding at it. Boom.